What's up, everybody? It's Corey, host of the Grease Pole Podcast, back with another weekly mock draft, and we're kind of working on a new setup here, so new things to come. But if you want to, before we get into this one, see our previous draft content, our draft playlist, click this link above, and it'll take you to everything we've done prior and everything that is to come. The concept of what I wanted to do this week is kind of the ideal picks, right? Again, we're not at our final mock yet, but it's kind of what I think the ideal pick would be at each spot. It's not a guarantee that the board's going to fall this way. It's all a projection, right? So that's what the following mock draft is going to be. Again, we're trying to have different concepts before we get to our final mock officially next week leading up to the 27th. So with that being said, let's put the birds on the clock with the 10th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, where the Philadelphia Eagles select Peter Skoronski, offensive lineman out of Northwestern. I kept flip-flopping here between Skoronski and one other player. That'll most likely be a topic of a video to come prior to April 27th. In the meantime, I went with Skoronski here because I think he makes the most sense. It's a deep draft along the edge, so you can circle back and still land a quality pass rushing prospect. When it comes to the offensive line, you've got Paris Johnson Jr., Peter Skoronski, and then everybody else that's projected to go on the first or second round is kind of interchangeable depending on what it is that you're looking for. Skoronski played tackle at a high level at Northwestern. He projects well at guard at the NFL level, and he fills that void that was left by Isaac Seumalo in free agency, helping keep the Eagles' offensive line atop the league. Skoronski is one of the safest picks in this draft, and when you're about to, you just paid Jalen Hurts, made him the highest paid player in NFL history, you can't afford to fuck around when it comes to protecting him, and Howie Roseman knows that. With the 30th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Kalijah Kancey, defensive tackle out of Pitt. Part of me wanted to go with Drew Sanders here or even Jack Campbell, but I know there's no way Howie's going to go linebacker in the first round. The Aaron Donald comps with Kalijah Kancey that were happening following the combine have slowed down, thankfully. And look, to me, it was always lazy. Same position, same school. Doesn't mean the same player. But Kancey's been incredibly impressive, and he might not even last to the 30th pick. But if he does, I think he's got Howie Roseman written all over him. Pardon me, phlegm. The knock, if there is one, right, is that he's undersized at 6'1", 280, but he knows how to collapse the pocket and penetrate it as well. His first step is great, explosive. He's got very quick feet, explodes off the snap. He's got quick hands. It won't be as easy for him at the NFL level, but you'll routinely see him get his hands on the opponent first, establishing that control, driving the line to scrimmage backwards. He shows great body control. You don't see him on the ground a lot. And he's equipped with an impressive arsenal of pass rushing moves already, and he's got experience in multiple alignments. Obviously, after the departure of Javon Hargrave, you can expect Howie to look to replenish the interior of the defensive line, and Kancey would make for an awesome tag team partner for Jordan Davis. With the 62nd pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Josh Downs, wide receiver, North Carolina. After the Quez Watkins incident in the Super Bowl, it's obvious that third wide receiver spot needs some attention behind AJ and Devontae. And when you look at that slot wide receiver position, nobody in this draft class fits the bill more perfectly than Josh Downs. It's bizarre that not a single one of the 32 teams have brought him in for one of their 30 pre-draft visits so far. He's the prototype for a slot wide receiver. Ran a 4.48 at the combine, which is kind of underwhelming for what he was expected to run. But if you watch his tape, you'll see he's got game speed. He's quick, accelerates, hits top speed efficiently to create separation. He's incredibly twitchy. He's the twitchiest receiver of this group in terms of guys that are slot receivers. Quentin Johnston's twitchy for a guy his size. I'm talking slot receivers. He's incredibly twitchy as Downs and sure-handed with 2 90-plus catch seasons during his time in Chapel Hill. He's capable of running any route effectively. He can get vertical, go up and get it. He's an elite red zone target. His tape is littered with a shit ton of red zone targets. So I don't think Downs lasts until the end of the third round. So I don't even know that he makes it to 62, but I wanted to snag him here to ensure the new highest paid player in NFL history, right? Jalen Hurts, QB1, stays with plenty of potent targets all around the field. Third round, 94th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Carl Brooks, edge rusher, defensive lineman out of Bowling Green. It feels weird to not take an edge rusher until the third round, but again, this isn't our final mock, so it's the most ideal picks at each spot. So let's address the edge now with one of my favorite players in this draft. We talked about him before, Carl Brooks. It still feels weird to me that he didn't get an invite to the Combine, but if he did, he'd probably be a lock to go somewhere in the second round. He can line up inside or outside. I've seen him projected as more of a defensive tackle at the NFL level, but he was among the most productive edge rushers in college football, one of the most feared guys on that edge. 6'4", 300 pounds. He posted 27.5 sacks over 49 games at Bowling Green. He did this with an incredibly explosive get-off. He initiates contact rather than reacting to it. Then there's the pass rush plan, and he's got all the moves in his arsenal. His hands are active and effective. He can also stop the run. Versatility is the calling card for Brooks, who can do anything along the defensive line with speed, power, athleticism. I think he ultimately goes toward the end of day 2. I just hope he's in the mix for Howie Roseman, so I've got him here. 7th round with the 219th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Kayvon Merriweather, safety out of Iowa. Another guy, we've talked about Merriweather before, and man, this Iowa defense has an impressive group of guys in this year's draft. You got Lucas Van Ness, Jack Campbell, both guys I love, and Merriweather as well. And if you've been a listener to the podcast, you know I love me some Reed Blankenship. And the Terrell Edmonds pickup is great, but again, depth is important. Think about Blankenship stepping in for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson this past season. I love Merriweather at this spot if he is there. He's a guy that's got good instincts. He makes plays on the ball. His interception numbers would have looked a little more impressive on paper, but you'll notice if you watch him at Iowa, quarterbacks avoid him quite a bit. 6 foot, 205, so he's got good size. He's a great athlete. Previously played basketball and ran track. So he's got good vision, good awareness. Reads the play in front of him. You talk about versatility. Merriweather's got experience playing deep. He played in the slot. He can play in the box. Because he wasn't targeted a ton, there isn't a ton of upside with Merriweather, but the floor with him is very safe, especially at this point in the draft. 248th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, Philadelphia Eagles select Aubrey Miller Jr., linebacker out of Jackson State. TJ Edwards and Kazir White, two of the Birds' starting linebackers from last year, departed in free agency, and we all know that Howie Roseman doesn't place a high value on the linebacker position. Nakobe Dean is going to have to step in and step up in a big way, and you've got Sean Bradley and Davion Taylor. Nick Morrow was also brought in as well on free agency. So there's bodies there, but you've got high hopes for Nakobe Dean, but it would be a good idea to invest in a linebacker somewhere in the draft, and Miller provides good upside at this stage in the draft. He's a classic example to me of a guy that'll probably be a special teamer out of the gate, but he can go sideline to sideline, got great instincts, able to shed blocks, and is a solid tackler. He finishes tackles as well. He's definitely a late day 3 pick. He may go undrafted even, but at the minimum, it gives you a little depth at a position where right now there isn't any. That's why I kind of, again, in the back of my mind, Drew Sanders, Jack Campbell, maybe at the end of the first and the second. I just know that's not something Howie's going to do. So there you have it. And my thought process here was, again, guys who will make an immediate impact at the positions that require more immediate attention while adding depth where the rosters become thin. I tried to keep Howie Roseman's kind of approach here in terms of positions he values the most to give as much accuracy as possible throughout this exercise. So what are your thoughts on the mock? What do you think of the picks, and which ones are your favorite and or least favorite? Let us know in the comments section, and if you've done any mocks yourself, feel free to share the results with us as we continue NFL draft talk and coverage here on the channel. So if the draft is your cocaine too, please drop a like and make sure to hit that subscribe button as we look forward to bringing you even more content on the upcoming draft as it gets closer and closer. We've got a couple more weekly mock videos, draft concepts coming your way, full Eagles mocks before night one of the draft on April 27th, including our official final full Eagles mock draft, as well as a handful of takes and opinions as the draft approaches. We'll see you next time. As always, go Birds.